On this Thursday, we are watching the potential for some strong to severe storms coming through later on this afternoon. We're going to walk through this latest risk from the Storm Prediction Center coming up.
Duke Energy is working to restore a power outage in the Briar Creek area here in Durham. Coming up, I'll tell you more about the progress they've made so far.
Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Fayetteville today. We'll have a look at the security preparations for North Carolina's first campaign visit since the attempt on former President Trump's life.
J.D. Vance introduces himself to the nation as he accepts his vice presidential nomination at the RNC.
We will, in short, make America great again.
His message for the country ahead of former President Trump's speech at the convention tonight. And that will be the big finale on the last night at the Republican National Convention. This will also be the last day that will be really, really hot and humid. And then finally, we can enjoy some cooler temperatures. I'm Renee Chu.
I'm Jeff Hogan. Yeah, thanks for making us part of your Thursday here. It is a WRAL weather alert day because changes on the way. It's kind of stirring things up a little bit. Anthony Baglione in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at our severe risk.
Yeah, we have a cold front that's going to come through, and anytime that happens here, when you couple that with the heating and the humidity that we get a lot of times during the summer, we tend to see a severe risk come out, and that's what we have out there this morning. Level 2 risk, this was updated this morning, even upgraded, I would say, for most of our viewing area, Raleigh and Fayetteville included in that. What it's saying is here that the lowest risk, that green that you see showing up right there, some isolated pockets where it could be a little bit stronger. This is just kind of some wider coverage potential where we're seeing that yellow outline. There's a closer look for you. Raleigh, Goldsboro, Sanford, Fayetteville, a large chunk of our viewing area included in that. We're quiet right now, but between about 3 o'clock and 8 o'clock this afternoon, that's when we're looking at that potential for some strong storms. Here's 6 o'clock, or we'll start us off here right about this morning. Futurecast hinting at least just a passing shower. We're probably going to be pretty quiet here up until this afternoon. There's lunchtime looking good to go. A mix of sun and clouds at that point, but then as this front gets closer, there's 3 o'clock. Some of these cells that you see showing up right there could be on the stronger side with some gusty winds, maybe some very small hail. That does not look like a primary concern for us today. 5 o'clock, though, definitely affecting our evening commute, so I would take the umbrella along with you this morning, and then we start to quiet down there as we get later on this evening. No problems, though, out there for us as far as the weather, Ken, is concerned this morning.
Hey, Anthony, weather and traffic every 10 minutes to make sure you're prepared and know what to expect when you head out on the roadways. Right now, we have a quiet start in the capital city. I-40, the Beltline, looking really good this morning. I-540 looking well as well. Sorry to use those two back to back. Hillsborough, Durham, Chapel Hill, all the major thoroughfares. I-85, 885, all looking good this morning. Let's take you outside and show you exactly what we're talking about here. This is I-440 and Capitol Boulevard, delay-free in both directions this morning.
With some breaking news we're following right now. Crews have been working for hours to repair a power outage after a tree fell on some lines near Briar Creek. Nick Perlin is right there in the WRAL breaking news tracker. And Nick, Duke Energy crews made some pretty quick work out of this. They just cleared that scene.
Yeah, Jeff, that's right. They left about a couple minutes ago, actually, after removing a tree from a power line. And actually, I want to show you video of that happening as it happened. And you can see crews with Duke Energy using tools and finally getting able to break that branch and getting it off the power line. At one point this morning, we know 4,000 people were without power. Now, according to the Duke Energy outage map, it says only 200 people are still without power. We're still working to find out when power will be restored to those customers. And of course, once we have more information, we'll be sure to update you. Live in Durham, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
In just a few hours, Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Fayetteville for a campaign event. This will be her 7th trip to North Carolina this year and her 2nd in just the past week. WRAL's Destiny Patterson is live in Fayetteville this morning, and Destiny's security will be on high alert, especially after the shooting at Donald Trump's rally over the weekend.
That's right, Renee. And a big indication of that is we still don't know exactly where she'll be speaking today once she gets into Fayetteville. When I covered an event that she was at in Durham earlier this year, we had all the logistics for that in advance. But in this case, we know that local law enforcement and Secret Service will be in charge of security for today's event. And Cumberland County Sheriff's Office tells me they are not providing security, but will be ready to assist if needed. We're also told military personnel will not be directly involved. The former Fayetteville police chief tells us that there will be snipers on rooftops as well as canine units and extra Fayetteville police officers patrolling the area.
In every case, both in Charlotte and in Fayetteville, we always positioned our police marksmen with a Secret Service marksman on high ground. That was a given.
We've learned Vice President Kamala Harris will land at Pope Army Airfield just before 1 this afternoon. That's about 12 miles from here in Fayetteville. The Vice President will only be here for a few hours before she heads back to D.C. just before 3 o'clock. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, Fayetteville.
You can count on WRAL for coverage of the Vice President's visit all day. We will have live coverage of her speech today on WRAL.com and on WRAL News Plus.
And Renee, also tonight, former President Donald Trump will address the nation for the first time since the assassination attempt on him over the weekend. His speech will wrap up the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Michelle McConaughey is in the WRAL Live Center right now with what we can expect during the closing night of the convention. Michelle.
Yeah, it is the last night of the convention, and the theme tonight will be Make America Great Once Again. Several big names will be hitting the stage at the RNC convention at the Pfizer Forum tonight in Milwaukee, including many from Trump's family. Both of his sons, Eric and Donald Jr., are expected to speak. We're also expected to hear from former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. He is also expected to take the stage. We know that former President Trump's speech likely will not happen until the end of the convention, which is at 10:30 tonight.
J.D. Vance has introduced himself to the nation. The senator from Ohio took the stage last night at the Republican National Convention as he officially accepted his nomination as vice president. The 39-year-old is the first millennial on a major party ticket. In his speech, he made a case for the America First approach Trump championed when he was in office.
And if this movement of ours is going to succeed, and if this country is going to thrive, our leaders have to remember that America is a nation and its citizens deserve leaders who put its interests first.
Vance also highlighted his upbringing. He grew up in poverty in rural Ohio. He called it a place that had been cast aside and forgotten by America's ruling class in Washington. This morning on Today, Savannah Guthrie anchors live from Milwaukee ahead of the final day of the convention. Today's team coverage of the Republican National Convention starts at 7 right here on WRAL.
A Chapel Hill man accused of killing another man on Ashley Forest Road is due to make his first court appearance today. WRAL's cameras were rolling as police detained 45-year-old Mario Thompson yesterday. He's charged with murder in the shooting death of 37-year-old Adam Abdur-Rahman. The shooting happened just after 1 yesterday morning. Thompson is also accused of shooting into another person's house. That wasn't the only instance of shots fired in Chapel Hill Wednesday. Police arrested 37-year-old Anthony Tyson after they say he fired shots into the air on Franklin Street. Authorities say the shooting started after an argument escalated. No one was hurt, but people who worked nearby say it was a scary thing to have happen in such a busy area.
Definitely a little unnerving, especially with like all the street and foot traffic. I mean, you see a big police presence here in Chapel Hill, so it's definitely not something that's very common around here.
And Chapel Hill Police Chief Salih Salihu responded to the gun violence, saying a deadly shooting on Ashley Forest Road this morning and then shots fired on Franklin Street this evening are difficult reminders that gun violence affects everyone, and we will not tolerate it. Our hearts are with the loved ones and community members affected by this violence.
New this morning, a new report ranks North Carolina in the bottom half of states for women's health. The report released this morning by the Commonwealth Fund ranks North Carolina tied for 31st in women's health and reproductive care. Researchers use metrics including maternal and infant mortality, preterm birth rates, breast and cervical cancer deaths, and poor mental health. States in the Northeast performed best, while many states in the South are at the bottom.
Covering Wake County, a major project breaks ground in Raleigh's 5 Points neighborhood this afternoon. The Oaks at Whitaker Glen is an active senior living community that's been in the works for several years. It's being built on East Whitaker Mill Road. Today's groundbreaking is at 4 p.m.
The list of candidates vying to be Raleigh's next mayor just got shorter. Why City Council member Corey Branch decided to end his run.
Also, a vigil in Pennsylvania honors the man killed during the assassination attempt of former President Trump. Where the GoFundMe to help support his family stands this morning. Anthony.
And Jeff, as we check out the next couple of days here at home, we're looking at temperatures still pretty warm for us for this time of the year, but we slowly start to see our feels like values go down. We're going to talk about, though, the many rain chances that this comes along with coming up.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Welcome back at 6:12 here on our Thursday morning, where we're starting off quiet. No big issues for us out there to affect that morning commute. But we go over the next 7 days. Here's a look at our rainfall totals. And so I know there's a lot of shades on there, but generally speaking, 3 to 4 inches of rain is what we are likely to see here across most of our viewing area. It drops off slightly there for a place like South Hill at about 2 to 2.5. But no matter where we're at, it's going to be kind of a typical pattern each day where we start off relatively quiet. We go through the afternoon and evening and we get some storms to bubble up. Today, though, we do have a severe storm risk, meaning some damaging wind gusts are possible, some frequent lightning, some heavier rainfall between about 3 to 8 p.m. is something we will be watching. But again, this comes in later on today.
Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, no troubles to report on the major roadways this morning. You see the capital city, the Beltline free and clear this morning. You're coming in from Knightdale, getting ready to head out. 87 north and southbound lanes free and clear. Many of you take the alternate route of I-540. That is free and clear as well. Let's head over to Durham, look at those delay times and show you exactly what we're talking about here. If you're getting ready to head out in the Bull City, right now, very little to no delays happening in the Bull City, so you're free to go.
City Council member Corey Branch is talking more about his decision to drop out of the Raleigh mayoral race. Branch announced he was running to be mayor last fall. Yesterday, days before the filing deadline, Branch said he has decided not to run so that he could focus on his district.
Since my initial announcement, my life has changed. And I also heard from a number of constituents who told me how much they valued what I brought to the city of Raleigh in District C, and they felt my continued service inside the district outweighed the opportunity to serve as mayor.
Branch went on to say he will seek re-election for his District C council seat. There are 4 candidates remaining in the Raleigh mayoral race.
People who knew and loved the man who died during the assassination attempt on former President Trump are remembering him. Hundreds gathered in Butler County, Pennsylvania last night for a vigil honoring Corey Comparator. He died while protecting his daughter during the shooting at Saturday's rally. Comparator was a former volunteer fire chief. A GoFundMe page to raise money for his family has drawn more than $1.25 million in donations.
A major bridge in Wilmington is one step closer to being replaced. Governor Roy Cooper and state and federal transportation officials highlighted a $242 million federal grant yesterday. The money to replace the Cape Fear Memorial Bridge is coming from the federal government, but that grant money only covers about half of the estimated cost of the project. State and local money is expected to cover the rest.
Tonight at 6, millions of taxpayer dollars spent on studies and consultants for projects that went nowhere.
What happened to the money? Where did it go? What did we invest it on?
From light rail to unmet predictions for a huge economic driver down east, WRAL investigates government investments with little or no return and what our elected leaders are doing to make sure they spend our money more wisely in the future. That's tonight at 6.
And this morning on Today, an inside look at summer baseball on Cape Cod and how it can help some players get to the big leagues as future superstars, including Aaron Judge, have taken the field there. What makes the league so special is the chance host families have to share their homes with players.
What is it like to see the players on this team or who once even lived with you to then go off and achieve their dream?
It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and to know that you had a small part in it.
That's pretty cool. They'll have more about the league that's been a staple on Cape Cod summer since 1885. That's coming up on Today. It starts at 7 a.m. right after this newscast on WRAL.
Authorities in central Arkansas are asking people to stay alert as a flash flooding risk continues. Flooding yesterday forced road closures in the city of Conway. Some drivers had to be rescued when their cars got stuck in the water. The city got about 6 inches of rain in just a few hours. Local officials say it is the worst flooding there in nearly a decade. And that same storm system is moving on its way toward us, and that's what will bring us the possibility of severe storms. Meteorologist Anthony Baglione first starting off with a peaceful view of White Lake.
Yeah, I want to start us off with this picture before we talk about all the turbulent weather that we could see. This is not going to be a big time severe risk, and I certainly don't anticipate seeing those pictures coming in for our area. Very calm and peaceful out there, though, this morning. You can see our White Lake camera. Everything's looking good. A bird flying around there and just enjoying it. It's a decent start this morning. We have some cloud cover that's kind of hanging near the surface, and that actually would be a good thing. The longer we can keep the clouds hanging on, the potentially lower our severe risk would go. I know we like seeing sunshine, or at least I like seeing sunshine. It boosts the mood, but on a severe weather day, it is not a good thing. It adds some more fuel to the atmosphere, if you will. 79 is currently what it feels like in Raleigh, Goldsboro, Rocky Mount, Durham. Everyone feeling like close to 80 right now. 73 in Fayetteville. We feel like 70 currently in Clinton. South Hill, actually a little bit cooler is what your feels like value is. We go to 91 this afternoon. That is where we should be for this time of the year. That's our normal high. We're not going to be seeing 100-degree actual air temperatures today. I do think, though, you take that temperature, you factor in the humidity, it will still feel probably like 102 today. That's just below heat advisory criteria of 105. But you notice here, it's still going to be hot, but the intense heat that we've been seeing, 100s, 105, 106 feels like values, we are not going to see that. We're going to get a break from that, I think, for at least the next probably week to week and a half, if not into August, at least the first part of August. So that's something we'll be watching. With the heat, though, still today, plus a cold front, we have some decent ingredients together for a severe risk outline. The Storm Prediction Center put this out here earlier this morning, and they have Raleigh, Goldsboro, Sanford, Fayetteville, all included in that level 2 out of 5 risk. So just the step up from the lowest risk, if you will. What that timing would look like, we go through Futurecast here this morning. We're pretty quiet. There could be just a hit or miss stray shower, but we're looking pretty good. Lunchtime, we are still fine, but you notice some of that moisture getting closer to us. There's 3 o'clock. Some of these cells that start to work their way in could be on the stronger side with some gusty winds, maybe some damaging winds, kind of thing like that, or things like that. We're not looking at any tornado threat today. There's 5 o'clock as we get closer to that evening commute. The strongest cells would be down to, let's say, Goldsboro and Fayetteville by that point, and then it pushes on out of here by the time we get late into this evening. Not a big time severe risk, but anytime we have that, I want to make you fully aware here that we will start today off totally quiet. You'll walk outside thinking, oh, it's a decent start to the morning, and then that could change this afternoon. So we'll be watching that all day. 91 for us. We go to 88 tomorrow. A lot of 80s here in the forecast with scattered storm chances sticking around there, Ken, into next week.
Well, Anthony, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Trouble free on the major roadways this morning in the capital city. The Beltline free and clear this morning. That alternate route that many of you take, an I-540, delay free in both directions. Similarly, coming in from Knightdale, Zebulon area, I-87 north and southbound lanes, all free and clear this morning. Let's take you outside and show you what the Beltline looks like right now. This is I-440 and Ridge Road, traffic flowing nicely in both directions. Let's head over to the Bull City. This is the Durham Freeway and Alexander Drive. Traffic has definitely picked up a bit, but you can see it's flowing nicely in both directions.
President Joe Biden is at home recovering in Delaware after testing positive for COVID-19. His diagnosis comes just days before he's expected to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House.
And the Salvation Army of Wake County needs your help. What items the organization is requesting to give students a great start to the new school year.
And here's a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers. We'll be right back with What's Trending.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
The reboot of Frasier bagged 3 Emmy nominations, and now we know more episodes will be available.
Ken Smith's here now with What's Trending. Ken.
Of course, the first time around, this was a huge hit. Paramount Plus now saying season 2 of Frasier will premiere September 19th. Now, as part of the announcement, we learned the legendary Carol Burnett will have a cameo role this season.
Oh, that will be fun. And Carol, at 91 years old, not slowing down, and she just got an Emmy nomination for her role in Palm Royale. She's the oldest female to be nominated for an Emmy comedy at 91.
Let it roll. That's awesome.
Age, nothing but a number. So listen, how about this incredible crustacean? An orange lobster that ended up at Red Lobster now has a new home. This is Crush. His rare color is only seen in about 1 in 30 million lobsters. He's now at the Denver Aquarium after a Red Lobster employee saved him from a shipment that arrived at the restaurant.
Yeah, the rare orange color. I think he escaped a hot pot because, when you throw those brown lobsters in there, they turn orange after they're cooked. This guy, just a little pigmentation. And that Broncos helmet right there. Remember the orange Crush back in the day, their defense?
I remember that well.
Good stuff.
Hence the name. Caitlin Clark sets another WNBA record during her rookie year in the league. Clark put up 19 assists during last night's game against the Dallas Wings, breaking the previous record of 18 set in 2020. The Wings went on to win the game after an 8-point run in the final 2 minutes. Clark will play in the WNBA All-Star Game Saturday before the league goes on a break for the Olympics.
Cumberland County Schools is hosting a pop-up job fair this morning to fill positions with child nutrition services. The district is looking to hire assistant managers and food service assistants. The pop-up job fair runs from 9 a.m. to noon at Aldrich B. Wilkins High School on Skybow Road in Fayetteville. Starting pay is $15 per hour with benefits.
Vice President Kamala Harris will be in North Carolina today for the 7th time this year. The security measures in place after the assassination attempt on former President Trump.
As we look ahead here over the next 7 days, we are going to see a break from the heat, but will the humidity start to go down? We're going to talk about that and multiple rain chances coming up.
And more fencing is going up around Durham parks today. Where and when that's happening as part of an effort to protect kids from lead contamination.